The West African regional bloc ECOWAS has condemned the decision of Niger's military rulers to prosecute the deposed president for treason. They're calling it yet another provocation. Mohamed Bazoum was ousted and detained after the military took power by force last month. The UN's called the developments very worrying. Malcolm Webb's monitoring developments for us in Senegal's capital, Dakar. ECOWAS, the West African regional bloc, also saying that they're shocked by the decision.
ECOWAS put out a statement just a short while ago and said that it had learned with stupefaction about the attempts by the military authorities in Niger to charge recently ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. They also, excuse me, they also said that they condemned the action, which they said contradicted recent reports that the military authorities were willing to cooperate to bring a peaceful return to constitutional rule. And this comes at a time when people are waiting to find out if ECOWAS will indeed proceed with its threat to launch a military intervention. Just last week, ECOWAS heads of state met in Nigeria and ordered their military commanders to prepare a standby force. We're waiting for military chiefs of the region to meet sometime in the coming week to further discuss that deployment. Now, we've just heard in the last few minutes, as you mentioned, that the United Nations had said it was concerned about these attempts to charge Bazoum. And then we've also just heard from the US State Department, which has also been critical of the move.
Malcolm, you just mentioned to us about the standby armed forces that ECOWAS had put in place and they had activated. They said at the time, of course, that diplomacy was still an option. Do we know what the options are for ECOWAS now?
Well, ECOWAS has repeatedly said that it would be open to diplomacy and open to talks to return Niger to what it's called constitutional rule and to restore the democratically elected president, but it's also appears to be proceeding with the military option. Côte d'Ivoire has said it would contribute a battalion of 850 troops to an intervention force. Senegal, where we are, and also Benin would be expected to contribute troops, although we're still waiting for the numbers. Now, in 2017, ECOWAS intervened in Gambia. That was a relatively simple military operation compared to the possibility of this one. In that case, Gambia is an enclave pretty much of Senegal, and it took about a month to prepare that operation. So it's expected to take at least as long to prepare a military force that could enter Niger.
That's Malcolm Webb talking to us from Senegal's capital, Dakar. Malcolm, thank you very much indeed. Well, while there have been protests in favor of the democratically elected president, who's now in detention, there's also support for the coup leaders.
If there was high treason, he's the one who committed the biggest betrayal. You really can't spare him. The military have seen it all, and there really has to be justice.
What we are going through is not a witch hunt, because even when you look at the army, let's face it, is not all holy, but they are obliged to work together and should do so for the good of Niger and a bright future for the country.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty about President Bazoum's fate as regional powers push for his release. Ahmed Idris explains from the Nigerian town of Katsina near the border with Niger.
A lot of observers are confused as to what is going on in Niger, simply because most of the calls and meetings between President Mohamed Bazoum and foreign leaders that the military junta is talking about were sanctioned by the military itself in Niger. Take, for example, the meeting between the president of Chad, Mohamed Idris Deby, in the early days of the coup, when he was sent here by when he was sent to Niger by the Economic Community of West African States. That was sanctioned by the military, and they met with the military as well as President Bazoum himself. The other callers or the other people who called President Mohamed Bazoum include the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the President of France, as well as the Secretary of State of the United States of America. So a lot of people think that this could be a power game being played by the military in Niger Republic to strengthen their hands so that whatever negotiation that is about to happen will give them an edge so that they can also use President Bazoum as a bargaining chip. We've seen this play out in previous military coups in the region, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, as well as Guinea. So people are wondering what is going to happen next. Right now, we understand that African Union has also met and will decide on what next line of action after the expiration of its deadline to the coup leaders in Niger. Also, with the rising cases of attacks in Niger, on Sunday there was an attack on a military base that killed 7 people. There are concerns that people in Niger will be wondering what the military is doing about it, because that is one of the reasons why they said they have intervened to take control of government from Mohamed Bazoum. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Katsina, Nigeria.